That's
All right, let me introduce myself. Anthony Angelillo, branch manager with the tag team over here in Miami Shores, CEO, founder of Tag Team Nation behind me, and co-host of Damage Control, top originator of the year for 2020. We're shooting for 2021, and we are kicking some serious ass this month. So we're scaling up and we're growing, and we're gonna we're dominating our sector as said, man.
Love it, love it, love it. Hi guys, Melinda Grimaldi, real estate and title attorney, and so excited for this last episode of Damage Control, not only because it's the last one, I'm freaking tired, but more importantly, because I have my good friend Bethany who's joining us today. So I'm going to let her introduce herself. And then of course we have Sean, and Bethany, you introduce Sean because
I will.
You know him well, that he could obviously introduce himself as well. But I think that'll be a great layup for him if you do that. So
right.
Please tell everybody who you are, what you do, what's cooking.
Okay, so Bethany Martinez, a real estate here in South Florida with Related ISG. I lead a team called the BMAR team, and I'm also 2021 Miami YPM president. So this is my presidential year. I'm so pumped. And I love what I do, you know, and I love sharing the stage today with all these amazing people. You guys, honestly, congratulations on your first week of March Marketing Madness. I think it was a great idea, and I'm so proud of you guys for launching this. So many agents need things like this, need tools like this. So I think it was a perfect synergy. So now I'm going to introduce Sean, and Sean is the owner, founder of Sweet UX, which is a website development platform. How we met was, let's just say we'd been following each other for some time. We were always in the DM, just kind of chatting, trying to put a meeting together. And I remember maybe posting something one day about needing a website. And Sean was like constantly just following up with me like, hey, let's meet. I can help you. We finally met one day in person, and I was like, dumbfounded how I hadn't met with him sooner. I had an issue and he had a solution, and he helped me with it immediately. And the issue was like, I didn't have a website. I was paying a lot of money to put together a website, and you know, you're just lost in the sauce when those things come up. But thank you so much for Sean, who came to me. He gave me what I needed and he helped me. And not only that, he's helped so many agents along the way get their brand out there and build their website. So that is a little bit about Sean, but I'm sure he can tell you a little bit more.
Nice.
Okay, so here's the real story. I was practically stalking her for like 3-4 months almost.
Oh.
So you know how when
skills, man.
It's like stalking on a professional level.
That was
so it was interesting. So the way we got started, when I started the company, I put up an Instagram page and everything else, and you just try to find who your dream customers are, right? Like, oh my God, like if they could only see what I have, it would be a perfect fit. So I started going through the process of Instagram, looking for people, and came across her page. I thought her information, the stuff that she was putting out was amazing, very informative, very, very engaging. So I messaged her, and that back and forth didn't happen until maybe like a month and a half after, just reaching out. And you always think like, oh, like maybe this person's ignoring me or whatever it is. And it's not the case. Like someone, I think at the time, maybe you had like 8,000 followers or something like that. And it's just, people are busy. People have things that are going on in their life, and you just got to keep following up, right? So that's what happened. And I finally got across to her. I think it was when COVID hit, March or April. I can't remember exactly what month. And she posted up on her story saying that I have free time because COVID hit. Everyone's going to be at home. Hit me up. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. I've been trying to get a hold of you for like 3 months. Reached out to her. And immediately she responded back. The next day we were on a Zoom call, and the rest was history. I explained what we did.
But this is a really important lesson.
Yeah.
This is a really important lesson, because sometimes when you reach out to somebody, they're not ready to hear what you have to say. So that's why the follow-up game is so important. Because of that. So I had a similar situation where we had a mobile notary that she was coming to my office because she wanted our notary business, like every other day, like dropping off goodies, like, can I have a meeting, trying to call, but like, obviously they're not letting her pass, they're protecting my time, my team. But eventually we got to a point that we needed somebody new. And I was like, that she's so persistent. Like, I have to respect that. So let's give her a shot. And she's actually my best notary that we have. So we always try to use her if we can. So it's a really good lesson, because it's same thing with buyers and sellers. They may not be ready in that moment to pull the trigger, but they will be one day. Right?
Yeah.
You have to remember that.
That is the importance of persistence and follow up in any business, in your business, in my business, in Anthony's business, in Sean's business. That's like the nature of the game when you're trying to grow your business.
The money's in the follow-up.
Money's
in the follow-up all the time.
Totally, man. Without a doubt. It's all about the follow-up game. There's so many times that I hit up clients and I'll put notes in my CRM and then I'll just reference those notes and, oh my God, you remember that? Yeah, I remember that. Obviously, it's the notes of the CRM that remembers that, but can't even remember yesterday, man. Never mind the notes of the CRM. But
tell me about
the point, right? That's the point. All right,
so since we're already talking about the website, let's talk about websites now. I have a lot of things I want to bring up, but I definitely want to make sure we touch on the website. So when it comes to websites, why is it important for an agent to have one? Do most agents have one? I'm not even sure I know that answer. What do you got?
I'll give you from an agent standpoint, and then Sean can give you from like the web developer standpoint. So in the beginning, you think like, oh, I don't really need one. Like, what's the point? But I think it for branding purposes, it's just really important to be able to be findable, be searchable. Like, it's just social media is great, but like, what if someone puts your name into Google and wants to kind of vouch and see what you're doing out there? I think it just shows a level of credibility that you should be having at some point after being in the business. But the thing is why people, I feel like, stray away from them because they think like, oh, website, either so much money or cost or complicated, and then they don't really get around to it. And then that's why like what Sean did for me is that he took all the stress like literally off my plate, because I was building one out from scratch. And then I just realized that I'm not that agent. I don't need this like really expensive fancy one that I have to have someone like who's seriously maintaining weekly. Some people might, some people are different. I have my back-end system set up. I do want something to put my brand out there, to get leads, to do certain things, but the route that I was going, I ended up paying all this money, stopping mid-project, because I didn't even have the time to sit with the web developer at the time to go through all the specifics. So like when Sean came in, I was like, you don't realize you need something until you actually have it. Because now with a lot of relocation clients, everybody's asking, oh, so do you have a website that I can look at some properties, or do you have this? And it's just like, you don't want to give them my Facebook page or just my Instagram. Like that doesn't feel professional, Right. So, like from an agent standpoint, why I started to feel like at a certain point in my business, it was really important to have all the pieces. I have a Google business, I have a website now, I have social media, I have so many different outlets for people to trace me back to.
Right. So there's two different perspectives that I look at it from. One is telling your story and being out there, tell your story, differentiating yourself, because it's very different. Like what Bethany's saying, when you're actually on Instagram and you're posting things on a regular basis, the content is a lot different than what you're going to be putting on your website. Your website is almost like your display that you're going to be posting up, whether it be your testimonials, whether it be some video content that you're going to have on there. It's like a culmination of your social media, of your YouTube channel that you can kind of curate yourself and put on your website. So that's one thing. Also, 72% of clients are when they're looking for a home, they start on Google. So the first thing that they're doing, they go on Google, they're looking through review sites, they're looking for social media, but they're also looking for your website. And I've done this before, and I'm sure a lot of other people that have purchased houses before, they go on Zillow first, they might just be browsing around, and the savvy buyers, what they do is they'll scroll down to the bottom and they'll see who actually listed the property, because I think people are getting a lot smarter to what Zillow has been doing. And when you click that contact us button at the top, it doesn't actually go to the listing agent. It goes to one of their premier agents. So everybody knows you go to the bottom and they're putting that name into Google and seeing what pops up, right? And it's also another reason why I always tell people, there's clients that I've worked with that they don't have a Google page, a Google business page. And it's super, super important just to have that presence when you put in someone's name and their information shows up on the right-hand side. that has your reviews that you can put there. It has images that you can put there, and your website, it just lends credibility to who you are as a professional.
Yep.
I'm looking at your site right now. It's pretty beautiful. I have to say, I really like it, and the pictures are awesome too. So that's also beautiful. But so you know, it's like telling agents, like you were saying, you don't have to say go look at Zillow at some things and show me what you like. You can actually go on the site now, right? On your site, you could actually do some searching. Is that how it works with the search button?
You can definitely do searching. Go explain, Sean.
No, so you can search, but also your own listing. So our platform, pretty much, we make it easy for you to pull in your listings onto your website. So from the moment that you sign up with us, your listings are automatically displayed on your website so that they can be accessed, and they'll cycle through. So when it goes from active to pending or sold, they'll get cycled through. So you don't really have to update it on your own if you don't want to. Or if you do want to update it, you can put like a property video and create your own listing pages. So it's just an easy way to have your listing set up on there. You can also do search by properties and stuff like that as well. All the basic features that you would normally get on an IDX website. But what we specialize in is really like the branding and getting that set up online and getting it set up in a quick way as well. Because again, like Bethany's saying, a lot of these people, it can take not only weeks, but even months to get something set up.
My website took months. Some of it was my fault because it took me forever to get back on like some minor things, but like also then like when I get back, then it was like another month to get better, you know?
Exactly.
So and it just takes forever.
And it's the back and forth, right? It's the information that you have to send to them, and then you're like, oh wait, I forgot this, and so you know, that back and forth does happen. So one of the things that we're actually rolling out, it's a new product that we're rolling out. We're not rolling it out till next week, but we're revealing it here today. And I also have a special offer that I'll offer at the end of the session. It's templates, and templates is just an easy way to get set up. So normally what I've been doing for Bethany and our other clients has been on the custom side. And it's where I really get on a Zoom call with them and kind of tailor make what they want and actually put it on the website. But on our website now, it's getsuiteux.com. If you go to templates, you can see some of the templates that we now have. They're pretty much pre-designed, high quality templates that you can look through. And then from there, that's like your foundation, your base that you can start from. And then it can be customized from there. So it's cuts down the time. We would normally take sometimes 10 to 15 days to get people turned around. We're looking to get people turned around in a matter of days.
That's really awesome, because like, you know, I think with websites, it just lends to your credibility, and I think having one is super important.
Right.
So definitely a critical piece to it all.
And like, I think a good point to, I think, because it, like, again, I feel like it can be really overwhelming, like at the beginning, kind of like, what do you want to envision yourself as? What do you want to look at? So what I did when I was creating my logo and my branding, I created a mood board. And this mood board was kind of like a few things that I liked, things that like fonts that I liked, color schemes, different things like that. And I was constantly adding them onto like a Google Doc, you know, and I'm like, oh, I like this. Oh, I like this. And like, anytime I saw something that I could, you know, relate to, whether it was someone else's logo, little things, I kind of saved them all on a mood board. And little by little, I collected like color schemes and different things like that. So that mood board was really able to help me create like my whole brand, you know, and I'm constantly updating it and changing it now. But when I created that mood board and I met up with Sean, he didn't even realize it, but like I had already been working on this. So when we sat down to talk about what I wanted for my website, I was able to share my mood board with him. And I'm like, well, this is what I want to feel and look like. And maybe you can pull some things from there. And it was really easy for him to put together. Like when he showed me my website, I was like, that's exactly what I wanted. And it saved so much time. So I encourage, you know, agents or, you know, anybody out there that doesn't have a website or doesn't have a real specific brand yet, start like looking into the things that you like, maybe other things that other agents have, different fonts, different colors. Start thinking about what you want your logo to look like and put that on a mood board. And that way, whenever you're working with someone for marketing or social media or for web development, you can just easily share that mood board with them instead of having to start from scratch. I think like, you know, that's a great thing to do to get yourself going if you don't have it. It's a good way to get motivated.
I like that. It's a good
So
strategy.
if you want, I can actually go through the process that we go through with each one of our clients when we're building out a custom website. And there's a lot of parallels to what Bethany is talking about, putting together a mood board. It's exactly that. Like, it's just a curation of the type of fonts, the styles, the colors, the patterns, the imagery, all that stuff together, that when she gave that to me, I was like, my background is in graphic design, and that's where I come from. So it was something that it was like a dream. It was great. I was like, okay, I no longer have to kind of figure this out on my own and kind of pull information out of her head as to, okay, what's your style? What's your, you know what I mean? So that really helped. And because of that, we actually created this process, a brand strategy process that we go through with each one of our clients, figuring out who are their customer types, what the brand strategy is going to be. So if you want, I can go through that real quick just to give your listeners an idea of some of the things they should be paying attention to.
I think that this is an important like process for everything that we're doing, right? Not just for websites, by being able to go through the ideas. So I do have other things to talk about, but let's go through that and
mention the turn times too of the back and forth, because everybody has that issue. That's the biggest issue with graphic designers and someone generating content. If I want to change it instantaneous, how long does that take? What's your turn times?
Okay, so from the beginning process with templates now, once you actually sign up, you go through, it's pretty much like a form that you fill out. So all the information for the site will be filled out by you. If after the fact that you need to change something, we have a page builder that you'd be able to go in there and just edit the information yourself. So
yeah, because as things change in business, then you know you're able. You definitely want access to be able to change your site, your text, because things happen, right?
Exactly. So that onboarding process in the beginning is what we've taken care of with the initial form once you sign up. And there's a little bit of like a sign up that you go through. You have to put in your office and stuff. That information we take right off the bat because we have a vendor agreement with Miami Association of Realtors that as soon as you fill that out, we automatically grab your listings and put them on your website within seconds. Once that's done, then after that, it's just a matter of filling in the content. So you would go in, upload the photos that you want for each spot, for your banner, for the image that might be on the right-hand side, some text that might be on the left-hand side for your bio or for your company information. So it walks you through the whole process. And then once that's done, your site is live. After that, it might be changing up colors and stuff like that. But all that stuff is on the easier side once you have that brand strategy process that I'll go through now. But the whole back and forth of like imagery and text and, oh, I want to change this copy to make it say this, like all that is taken care of in the beginning.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I know a lot of people are having questions about prices and everything. So after the show, we're going to send you all his information. We can get pricing going and all that stuff so that you guys can work out the technical stuff and questions afterwards. But so what else, so when someone's looking to build a brand, let's say they don't have any ideas yet, what should they be thinking about in their thought process? What should they be building out on their mood board?
Right. So the first step that we do is we go through brand strategy. And this is something that you can do on your own. And as a matter of fact, like this, I'll put together, if you guys want, I'll put together in like a worksheet that you can you can send out to everybody, just so they have an idea of what to start thinking about. Because a lot of people, some of this stuff might be obvious to people, but they're just not thinking about it at the time. So the first thing would be your customer types. Like, who are your customer types? And that could be your average renter, luxury renters, high-end buyers and sellers. So I'm going to, and I'm going to put this link in the chat real quick, just to give people an idea so they can follow along with what we're saying, what I'm talking about. Give me 1 second. Okay, so everybody, that link will, once I start going through this, it'll make more sense. So we start with customer types, and I'm just gonna go through a quick example. So this example was from a client that we first started working with. Their customer types were average renters that are looking for the typical Miami lifestyle, luxury renters that are typically coming from Europe. This client happened to be from Monaco, so she comes over here, she has her client base overseas, and those are the type of clients that she's looking for. She even was able to break down for me the percentage of each one of her clients and that she's getting. So 70% of her business comes from average renters, 20% of her business comes from luxury renters, and 10% comes from high-end buyers and sellers. And again, that kind of information is very important to keep in mind as well, because you know what to focus on the front of the website. I had a client that came to me. He does a lot of new development out of Orlando. And when I was explaining to him, okay, this is what we should do, he was talking about, okay, but he also wants to do like commercial real estate. And I was like, hold on. Like, I went through the whole brand strategy session with him, and I was like, you've never mentioned anything about commercial real estate. And he's like, oh yeah, but it's something that he wants to get into. And I'm like, yeah, but you told me 75% of your business is coming from new development. You want to focus on it, but that is not really the primary area that you want to focus on. So it's just something to keep in mind, so that when people are coming to your site, they're not getting a different perception from what you can actually serve them with. So once we actually go through that, the second step is going through the brand strategy, which is brand attributes. And that's categorized into 4 different categories, which is culture, style, personality, and voice and tone.
Say that again. Say that one more time. One more time. Slow and steady.
So the first one would be culture.
Yeah.
And that would be pretty much your company culture. How you guys interact with each other on a regular basis. Are you guys super professional, buttoned up, or are you easygoing? How is it in the office? Style, which is just your own personal style. Your personality. I like to get a sense of what the person is like. And then voice and tone. So voice and tone, I pretty much break down. If your brand were a person, what would they sound like? I've actually had someone actually tell me, have you seen the movie Hancock with Will Smith and Charlize Theron?
Yeah.
So Charlize Theron, she thought of herself as like a Charlize Theron, as like a badass, because that's who she is in the movie. But she's also a family woman. And that was the kind of the two play. And as soon as she said that, okay, I was like, perfect. I know exactly the type of style. It's going to be a little darker. It's going to be maybe black that we're going to be using. The typography is going to be a certain way. So those are the things that I look at. And then going into each one of those categories, let's say it's your style, modern, clean, classy. We want to start to think about descriptive words and visual words that are going to paint the picture for what we're actually trying to create. That's the whole point of this process. For the link that I just put in, her brand attributes were modern, clean, classy, earth tone, antique. She even said voice and tone, Karl Lagerfeld with a rustic twist. Karl Lagerfeld is a fashion designer, and a rustic twist. So that kind of gave me an idea. So the link that I put in the Zoom, you can kind of start to see now where some of the imagery is coming from. So once I actually create that, we come up with a style, with a brand style, and the brand style for her was modern antique. And Anthony, I think you touched on this a little bit. Modern antique now is the filter that we're going to filter everything through. So your imagery,
that's where I was
looking for modern antique imagery.
That's where I was going with this, is that brand strategy. You have a specific formula for every single client. The reason why is that formula is monetized in their website, correct? Exactly.
It goes to everything that they do, modern antique, and even stuff that I'm not actually doing to the website. So if modern antique is the style that she's going to be going with, and you can see through the board that I put there, that I put together, the collage, not only with imagery like this, but also your photography. If you're going to be hiring a photographer and your style is going to be modern antique and you want it to fit the website that you're putting together, okay, maybe we should be looking at houses that are not so modern looking, but that are on the higher end side if you're a luxury agent, but that have a little more history to it. You know what I mean? So those are the type of things to keep in mind, just so that you have a cohesive brand when it comes to the style that you're looking for.
Now, besides the queen over here, Bethany, all right, and her badass website, what is one of the top websites that has had the most hits that you've done?
Okay, so as far as engagement and hits, one of them is the one that I'm giving the example of, which is Faylene. We actually started working together a while ago, and she actually gave me a call. I think it was about 3 months ago now. She was like, "Look, I have this big project for a building that she's going to be completely renovating and everything like that." And the investor that was looking online, he saw my website and he was impressed by what he saw, and they started talking together. I don't know how they actually connected, but that was one of the decisions that he was, one of the factors that he was looking at when making a decision. So it was something that lended her credibility, because on her website, she has a lot of information about interior design, she's a broker as well. So she has all the information on there as well. So it just gets a lot more detailed. So it really depends on what you're looking for and who you're catering to, as far as what information you want to have on your website. Right. We've even done stuff for clients, putting their calendar on their website, and making sure that everything directs to setting up appointments, because that was important to them. So every agent's going to be a little bit different as far as what they're looking for. You have lead generation as well, and leads go into your system. You get emailed those leads as well. It shows up on your mobile phone. The number shows up on their mobile phone in their email. They can just click it directly from their mobile phone and call them back to follow up with the client. It shows them the property that they're inquiring about. All that information is there. But the main thing is when they actually come to the website, before they even inquire and put in their information, they're looking at your website, making a split-second decision. Is this someone that I want to do business with?
Yeah, it's super important. Or like, so, and they usually look you up in a few places, right? They're like, okay, let's Google them. Let's look at the social media. Let's look on the website. What's their signature block look like? So there's so many different like ways people will check on you. And so website definitely gives you credibility, and is like, if you don't have a website, it's like, what are you doing? You know?
Exactly. I mean, so there's the emotional and then there's the logical. And as much as everybody wants to think that they're logical, they're emotional. And they're emotional first. So when they come to the website, it's the feeling that they're going to get from that website right off the bat. That's going to make them, okay, I should continue scrolling. Okay, now that I'm on par and I have the same vision with what I've initially seen right off the bat, I'm going to scroll down and then I'm going to start reading. Logical, right? What information are you providing me that's gonna help me out?
So I have a question for Bethany. How did you take your branding? Like, now you have this website that was built. How did you pull that over into what you're doing with the other stuff? I know you've used some of the same pictures from that photo shoot. I've noticed that. So what else? Like, how are you bringing that in?
So I, like Bomb, right? How we can create our templates that we send to people. So I sent the person that was creating the template for the Bomb my website, and I'm like, this is what I want you to follow, and then I'll have my mood board that follows along on my website, and I'm able to kind of keep everything the same. And then, like even for when you do your Facebook banners, your LinkedIn, you kind of want to use that mood board to transition into all your other platforms. And I think that's what's really important with like keeping your branding the same, so you're recognizable everywhere. So when someone sees that kind of look and feel like vintage modern, they automatically think of you. So that's kind of how I follow it. I started off with my mood board, but then now I use my website. And so whenever I want to replicate that on a different platform or for something else, I'm just like, go to my website so you can see my look and feel, and then copy that for whatever else I'm doing.
So now it's the baseline for all your
and it really saves you a lot of time, because like putting that together really kind of sets the tone for everything else. You can just direct everybody else to your website. And even my Google business page has like the banner from my website so that it all matches.
Right. That's nice. Mm-hmm. So how do you share your website?
I have it in one of like my link tree in my bio, right? If you want to go there, you can see my website there. I have it in the bottom of my signature for all of my emails. So no matter what, in my signature is my website. I have it like on my Zillow page. So if someone goes to Zillow, they can also follow back and check my website out. I just add it on everything. It's on my social media, it's on my Facebook, it's on my LinkedIn. The website is everywhere.
A good question here in the chat. How about if your brokerage branding is different than yours or what you like?
Good question.
I think that's why it's important to be with like a brokerage that doesn't force you to use their branding. I mean, a lot of the times a broker wants you to have a system or a flow. You don't want to be so off track, because let's just say they want you to have like a nice look, which I can understand that. But at the same time, you're a real estate agent and it's your own business. So it's your job to be able to brand yourself accordingly. Because if you're not going to, how do you know you're going to be with that broker forever? If you put so much money into branding yourself like exactly what your broker is, and then one day you decide to up and leave and you no longer want to use that branding anymore, then you have to go and rebrand everything. So I think it's important that the second that you get into real estate, which is operating your own business, you start thinking about branding yourself. How do you want to look and feel to the world? How do you want clients to see you? And that's what you should be following with your whole life and your business. And that's how you should be putting yourself out there. So I would definitely speak with your broker to see like what's allowed and what's not. But I don't really know many brokers that force you to keep the same exact look and feel. Because I mean, at the end of the day, we are 1099 contractors. We work for ourselves. We are employed by our broker, but we really are responsible for building our own business and our own brand. No one's
yes, for sure. It's so important. Even the CRMs the brokers give to you, like you have to be careful before you start really full throttle implementing those in those CRMs that you could take that with you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have a CRM. I have a place where all of my contacts go, all of my leads go. My brokerage offers a really amazing CRM, which is KV Core, which I'm definitely going to be using once we launch it. But at the same time, I still have everything in my HubSpot and I still have everything in my database sheet. So like, no matter what, like bring it back to basics, like everybody is saved in my phone book, like name, first name, last name, email address, phone number, and there's a note to who they are. And especially clients, if it's a client, it's client, renter, 2021, client, buyer, 2021, client, seller, 2021. Everybody's saved in my contacts like that. So no matter what, this is never going to leave me. This is always going to be with me. And I always have every client that I've ever worked with saved in here and categorized. Then from this, you export it into an Excel spreadsheet. Then whatever your Excel spreadsheet is what you're always going to put into your CRMs, because that's how you input anything into a CRM. Now, all those little details like, notes and documents that you can add into the CRM, those should also be saved in a personal file of your own, whether it's your Google Drive or something like that. So essentially, no matter what CRM you really use, no one can steal or keep anything from you because it's already organized and it started with you organizing it in your own system. And then it's really just easy. It's just like pull out and export into something else if you decide to use another CRM. So I think like if you really bring it back to basics, organizing yourself prior to that, having your own setup, so that way whatever CRM you decide to use, whatever brokerage you're with, no one can actually keep your stuff and not give it to you. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah, but you have to read the fine print, because then you're uploading all your contacts in the group thing. Like, do they own those contacts? Can they use them later?
That is definitely
understanding that portion of it. And what happens later is
even if you export it, they still have the content and the data. So whether they use it or not, it's fine print.
Just something to think about. But that's a whole other conversation.
Here's a question for the audience, Bethany. How has branding for you helped your career? Like branding yourself, how has it helped you scale your business? Because
it's because, now people recognize me, right? Now people will be like, oh, you're Bethany. I've seen you. I've heard of you. I know what you do. You're a realtor. You're the president of YPN. Like, branding is just so important for life. I mean, it's so important to be traceable, to be findable, to have recognition, to be, you know, like at the top of your game, right? I mean, I don't know. I'd like to see how many people are actually doing very well that don't brand themselves or promote themselves or don't have a website at all. You know, like in this day and age, especially after COVID, I think we realize the importance of being findable online. And these are all a part of the process of how you do it. A website is like basic 101 to be findable, searchable online. So that's like super basic. And then it's just everything else you do from there, making sure you can have everything backtracked to somewhere, right? All the content that you're putting out there, it shouldn't only be on Instagram. And I know you guys already did a class with Renee, who like taught everybody, or maybe gave the basics to everybody on how to repurpose it. Like how important is repurposing your content. You only have to do like, you can create one piece of content that can flow on 5 different platforms, right? So, I mean, that's like all takes it back to being online and having an online presence, right? So I think it's so crucial for where our world is headed, how everything is just technology based, how we're always constantly on Zoom. And I think that's like, it's just now it's mandatory. It should be a part of building your business.
Yeah, and then branding yourself, right? Like I think it was a follow-up question on branding yourself versus your brokerage, because it's you're trying to grow yourself. You're not trying to grow your brokerage. You're trying to, most of the time, you're just trying to grow yourself. So making sure that it's
just a quick note on that. Like some of the clients that we've had, the requirement that they had is like to put their brokerage logo. And that has been like the most requirement that someone has asked me for. They've never come to me saying, look, the colors have to be this way because my broker, it just, I mean, from my experience, it just hasn't happened. There is a stipulation that the logo needs to be there so that they know who they're affiliated with. But other than that, from my experience, it's been free reign to do what you want to brand yourself.
Free reign to do what you want. You just got to follow the ADA compliances, which is what someone talked about before. You always need to make sure you have specific realtor logos on your websites and on your marketing material. But other than that, as long as you're not representing something that you're not, like you're not saying or acting as a broker when you're not, I think you're able to do pretty much whatever you want when it comes to branding.
Just make it work for you, right?
Yep.
I do want to pivot to another discussion now, as we're almost wrapping up the hour, because there's the latest thing that's been going on that everyone's talking about is Clubhouse. And so I know, like, if you guys don't already follow Bethany, follow her, because she's the one who kind of taught me how to Instagram, just by kind of like following what she does, just by emulating her. When I met her, I was like, oh, she does this. Okay, I'll do that too, in my way, obviously. But so you know, she's definitely knows what she's doing when it comes to social media. But when I saw her jump on in like late December onto Clubhouse, I'm like, what is this? And obviously, you know, if she's on it, I gotta figure it out. So I got on really quick, and it's like all these chat rooms, but instead of like text chat, it's like voice chat. So Bethany, how have you been using it? If you could tell everybody. I feel like there's been a shift in the last, like, it's been quieter. I don't know if it's on it now.
So like, obviously, like all new things, when you hear about them, you want to jump on in the early stages and see what it's like, right? So, oh my God, someone's asking about how they get in.
I have a few invites. If anybody wants.
The more active you are on Clubhouse, the more invites they give you.
I have a bunch.
So I started seeing people jump on. I'm like, let me just jump on. And then literally all my crew, my friends, my work people, we all decided to jump on and start figuring this out and hosting rooms together. And so it's basically drop-in audio. It's like jumping on a Zoom, but without the camera. It's just audio. So you're in these rooms. These rooms have a title. They have a reason why you're there. And then there's these moderators. These moderators are the ones that are kind of controlling the room, like you and Anthony, how you control this Zoom. And then everybody can be muted. People can raise their hand to ask questions. There's the moderators, and then there's speakers, and then there's audience members, right? Audience members are just allowed to listen in unless they get called up to ask a question. Speakers are alongside the moderators. The moderators kind of control the room. They can bring people up, bring people down, mute people, do whatever they want, kick people out of the room. It's just really cool, because I think like now that everything is like virtual and we're constantly on the go, it's nice to like not have to like even dress up because there's no camera. But a lot of people are like on working out and in a Zoom cooking. You like hear them in the bath. Like I've heard the craziest things on Clubhouse of people multitasking and doing multiple things while on it. But essentially it's like it's another way to connect with people from all over. I've been in a bunch of real estate rooms where I'm like talking about really serious topics like regarding our market, regarding like legal updates, and hearing leaders just share so much valuable content. And people are just kind of talking about it, engaging and asking questions. And then I'm in a lot of like women-based empowerment type of growth mindset rooms, which that's like a lot of the rooms that I'm in. And those are really great too, because I'm networking with women. And then I'm constantly bringing those people outside of Clubhouse. And then I am like engaging with them on social media. So it's crazy because I just came back from a conference, which was 10X Growth Con. And literally we had like a group of 15 of us that we all just knew each other from Clubhouse. We literally were like now in live in person at the conference, like, oh my God, you're so and so, you're from Clubhouse, hey, what's up? And then it was like a live in person Clubhouse room. But it was just really cool. And again, it's just like another thing that's out there, another platform, another technology that you can either jump on now or not. I think like it's really good to kind of try all these things out. It's good as a YPN and being tech based and being forefront of our industry. I feel like it's good that I engage and learn all these things. And if I don't follow through, if it's not something I want to do anymore, no biggie. But I definitely feel like it's great. You guys are doing a weekly one. Is it daily or is it weekly?
Every Tuesday and Thursday morning.
So you guys are doing one now. I've jumped on a bunch of times. We're always talking about really amazing things. It's just so easy, right? Like instead of now like having to pull out the camera and the mic and all this stuff, now you're just like on your phone. You could be doing it in the car, like on the go. So it's another great way to share who you are, your business. You can have your profile there. Your profile links back to your Instagram. So it's just another way to be findable, be searchable, to build your brand, put yourself out there.
Yeah,
so why not? It's free.
The tips and tricks that we're learning and all that stuff it's like priceless stuff, man. People charge for that. They charge for that stuff,
Yeah, man. I'm talking like big people, like people that are very wealthy, doing a lot of stuff. Like I'm going to be in a Clubhouse room today. So I'm a notary, right? So I get a lot of business from my building. And there's this guy that lives in my building and who's already asked me to notarize like 5 things for him. So now we became friends. He's a tech guy and he's like, hey, I'm doing a Clubhouse at 4:30 today. I saw that you're on Clubhouse. He's like, do you want to jump on and be a mod? He's like, they're like these billionaire hedge fund people from like all over. They have like hundreds of thousands of followers. Like, why don't you mod with me? I'm like, sure. I'm like, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I'll be there, So it's just crazy because that's how easy it is, and how he found me was through Clubhouse, not even through like Instagram first. So I know people that don't have a huge following on Instagram and have like millions of followers on Clubhouse already. So it's just whatever you like, whatever works for you. But I would say definitely try all of them, get familiar with all of them. So, you can be in the game, you can talk about these things. So you're not like, what's Clubhouse? And it's already been months and everybody's on it,
Tracy just said the proximity of the high level upper executives and CEOs and dude, it's badass. You're
like next to them in a room, right? Or listening to them as they're home talking about these amazing things. And I feel like they're much more willing to give their great juicy advice and gems because they're probably so relaxed and in a casual setting. It's like, it's like a drop in audio, boom, boom, boom. You share a couple of tips that can change someone's life and you're out. It didn't cost them anything. And then it's always like a segue to something else to bring you back into something else that they're doing,
But the main goal of this platform is also to be able to give value, right? To go get information, but also to share it. So when you're on there, you can't be too pitchy. You'll like stick out like a sore thumb and like, it's going to stink.
Yeah, you want someone to come to you and what you do because you added so much value. You know what you're doing. You're like the specialist in that that area, that they are drawn to you for those reasons, not because you're trying to shove sales down someone's throat for something.
Right. It's not like really, it's not really the purpose, right? Of that. Not that people aren't making money on it, because a lot of times if you want to know more, I have this free gift, I have this free thing, free tool, free class, free this, whatever. Giving those free things are like the opt-ins to later selling you something.
Yeah.
But doing it that way is like, I'm giving it to you now, when you're ready to pay me, you can.
And you're going to pay later.
It's kind of how it works, right? So I love that. I noticed that you were using it also to build a lot of relationships with other agents.
Oh,
so can you talk about that angle with the Clubhouse and how you use it on Instagram and in general?
So and especially now more than ever, I've been really intentional about when I engage back and forth with a realtor saying, hey, do you want to jump on a quick Zoom, or do you want to jump on a quick call? I know it's very time consuming, but I've added a VA into my life. So that's also really helped me with scheduling and just doing those little things that I want to work on. Right. But whenever I was in a room on Clubhouse, it's really easy to be listening in and then going to that person's profile, going to their Instagram, going and check out who they are all while you're listening to them. That's why it's important to like link it to your Instagram and then keep your Instagram public. But what I'll do is I'll message them and I'll say, hey, I noticed that you're a realtor in so-and-so state. I would love to connect with you. I have 3 meetings set up this week and next week. Well, actually, no, next week, because it's already Friday. I have 3 meetings set up with realtors that we probably either met on Clubhouse or Instagram. We're going to do like little 15-minute calls just to see how we can work together. And that is like, one, because everybody's relocating to South Florida. Everybody wants to know about the market. And I just want to kind of know what other agents are doing. And my goal and my initiative for this year for 2021 presidency is to build a YPN national referral network where we are all a part of this either Facebook group type club atmosphere, where if you're a president or a president-elect in your year, you can be invited into this group, and that will be like our referral base. Like you'll be the head contact for that either state or that city, and then you can kind of like pass out referrals as you want, and then kind of give that opportunity for all of our YPN leaders to really have a strong referral network, because I don't see that there is anything like that right now. But also I want to build that network with just realtors. You don't have to be a leader, but I want to start working on that. So that's what I do with social media. Whenever I'm engaging or like we start a couple conversations, I'm like, hey, do you want to get on a call and chat? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. And then I take it from there. And honestly, like that's so important. I know it's so time consuming and we don't think about that, but really just like getting to know an agent off of just Instagram or social media or whatever it is, and just having that conversation with them, getting to know a little bit about who they are, is really how you can build your agent referral network. And that's what's really worked for me.
I love it. I think it's so important, especially being in South Florida or just Florida in general, and the amount of people coming to the state. It's imperative you guys work on growing your referral network with agents throughout the country. But even like if you have connections, I know agents that do it really well with like Canadian realtors, because Canadians are always coming
down.
Getting
so many Canadians that are messaging me about, hey, like I have a call with the guy today who's like, I'm Canadian. Are you familiar with dealing with Canadian people? I'm like, Melinda's from Canada. Yes.
We got you. What do you need?
I got you. Okay. So it's interesting how Canadians, I've already connected Melinda with a girl that I met on social media who referred me a client and then asked me if I was familiar with taxes for Canadians. And I made an introduction. I don't know where that went for you guys.
I brought her to a Canadian accountant that's here that can advise on the tax questions they have, but I gave them some other pointers.
And so that was like social media that we jumped on a call that led to a possible referral, because, that's what it's about.
It's good stuff, guys.
How many leads do you get a week on average on social media?
Lately it's been a lot, and it's been, and now that I'm able to trace it and I'm like having my VA track everything, like whether it comes in and I tell her this is from Instagram, this is from this. So like this week alone, I got 4, but this is 4 like very out of the blue. Like one lady, like DM'd me and she wants to buy. She's getting pre-qualified right now. She's flying in April. Another guy, or the Canadian guy, sent me a DM. It's important to like respond to your DMs. Like sometimes people are like, oh, nice property. And like you could just say like or not say anything at all and just keep it moving. But when you respond to those people, they're like, oh, you know what, I'm looking, and then the conversation starts going on and on and on. Then like a couple days later, they're like, you know what about this? And then it leads to another conversation. So sometimes it's like a nurture type of thing where if they're engaging, you kind of engage back. And then some people are just like, hey, I'm looking to buy a property, can you help me? So I have 2 people that hit me up in DM that were just like, one wants to move towards the end of this year. One wants more information to buy, but this is like how you build your pipeline.
Yeah.
I love that. And that's my biggest takeaway from you today is like, because, sometimes we're so busy that in the DM, someone's like, you just like do a little heart, like move on with my life. But I really shouldn't be like doing that, right? So that's someone trying to reach out and like having a conversation. So one way or another. So I need to be more mindful of that and just take the time to like focus on those things.
We just had this. That's why I asked that question. You've got a mass follow on IG. I got a DM that I got a random voicemail from a Michigan lead, and I thought it was maybe potential, from GoGo's thing yesterday, and it was a random lead, and they need to get pre-approved. So it's answering those DMs and follow up on those those voicemails, man. So important. So good stuff, man. Lots of stuff.
Yeah.
And
so
you can't do it alone, right? You got to grow a team. You got to bring in people to help you. It's wild, but it's like so true. Like I'm literally trying to offer like my little cousin, like, hey, do you want to just like follow me around on some days? Like I'll pay you $100. Like just follow me around, shoot the camera, hold the phone. I don't know, something.
$100.
Like it's getting to that point where it's like, or here's $100. Like just be in my DM, making sure I don't miss anything. Yeah. What do you and it's crazy because I've lost leads. Like there's people that write me on Facebook Messenger and I'm not in my Facebook Messenger that are like, hey, I'm looking to buy. And it was like 3 months ago. And I'm like, oh my God, don't Facebook message me,
But now do you have your assistant now in there?
No, we haven't gotten that far. She's so busy with other things. I need a marketing assistant now. That's the next step. That is literally the next step. It's gotten to the point where it's just like you need hands in on everything. Yeah, like Tracy just wrote back, I lost leads on Facebook Messenger too. I'm like, really, people? Like, are you?
I've had that too, because especially if you're not connected, it goes in like a pending message thing. And then I'm like, wait a second, like, how did I not see this? Like, where was that notification? So monitoring that is super important.
Or if it goes into unknown, it's not in your iPhone, and unknown, those are the worst, man. You're like, what the hell's this? It's random text message and you miss the opportunity. Happens to all of us, man. We're human, but you got to stay on top of your game or get an assistant.
It comes to a point where there's only so many things and sometimes, especially because like DMs to me, sometimes they get the last bottom of the totem pole, right? Because we're like on emails, we're on the phone, we're text message, and then it's DM. So you get bombarded with all the other things, and then you're like, oh man, I had that thing in the DM. Oh, but even text message, you get scrolled down. I try not to like look at it unless I'm ready to respond to it.
So my thing is like whenever something comes in, I screenshot it and I send it now to my VA. But before I used to like screenshot it or like create a note for it because there are so many people that God bless their soul. Like I must look horrible to them because I'm just like, yeah, okay, I got it. But I'm in the middle of driving. And then I'm like, next, I'm at an appointment and another appointment, and then I just forgot. And then 2 days goes by. But like lately, I'll tell you this, there has been like 4 or 5 rental leads that I just randomly got that I honestly don't even know how I closed them. It was like, I got them, I sent them stuff, I showed them one thing and I closed them. And luckily I was like, well, dang, you know what? Sometimes you're like, you're too busy to plan it, but sometimes you just bang it out and it happens. Like today I got a lead from a guy that called me from, I've been helping UM students when they relocate to UM, like the law program. I'm on like the college sheet, which is a note for all you realtors out there. If you can team up with a college and get on their realtor list, that's a good tip. When people apply, I'm like one of the realtors. So they usually go down the list and call. I had a phone call that I missed. and I got a voicemail. Someone actually left a voicemail, and my voicemail was transcribed. And I'm going through my transcribed messages, and it was a guy from yesterday. He's like, "Hey, I'm relocating to UM. I need a rental. Can you help me?" I literally was like, "Oh my god!" Like he left who leaves messages? You know. I called him today. I already put an offer on something this morning. He didn't even see it, sight unseen. I never even had to leave my house, and it's probably going to get accepted, and he's going to move in. Like literally, you know. But imagine if I just never would have responded, or I never would have followed up. If I would have never if it wasn't a transcribed message, I probably wouldn't have listened to it.
This is a really important lesson, guys. We work so hard, and this is for us too, Anthony. We work so hard to have people reach out to us. So you gotta be ready to respond.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that should be one of the first things, right? Like we work really hard to get attention, to get a following, to get engagement, and then if you're not responding timely, like what the hell's the point of all this work that we're doing to get people to reach out to us?
Absolutely.
So bad, man.
Right?
You got to do it.
We get caught up sometimes in our deal, in our lives, in our things, but sometimes you just gotta stop. Okay, where are my things? And if you can't go, put the reminder for yourself, make sure you follow up, find a way to like not forget, because it's silly.
Reminders, follow-ups.
The question is, what would be the easiest way to have that information directed to your phone as a text? Like, what would be the easiest way for that information to come to you rather than it being fragmented on all these different platforms?
That's a very good question, right?
You design that, we'll become billionaires.
Exactly. It's something I'm thinking about.
Well, let me know. I'll help you sell it.
No, because I mean, we have so of course we put together the website, but like you're saying, like you have all these different resources and there's no really central location. Your central location should be your CRM, where everything kind of goes into there. But even Anthony has the most built out HubSpot I've ever seen, and even with that, you can't manage your DMs through there, right?
Yeah, you can.
Can you?
I can do everything in that.
With Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, you can manage your DMs.
Everything. We'll cross that bridge. We're doing it in stages. Right? It's a lot, man. Like this is a massive elephant that we've got one leg. We got 3 more to go. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Yeah, you could do it. We're doing it right now. We've launched it. So
amazing.
Wow.
It's
you need to launch that shit over here.
It's all the DMs, hub spot. You hub everything into that spot, and all the DMs are there, and you're just boom, crushing. All the girls can do it, operate through that, and also in Zoom as well. So it's
awesome.
We'll talk about it.
So there's another. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, finish your thought, because I was just gonna wrap up.
Okay. No, I was just gonna say. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Zapier.
Yes.
Okay. So they pretty much connect apps, and that is one resource that people can use to actually connect different apps together, whether it be your CRM, whether it be different things. And we are building out integrations for Zapier to connect all your different apps together. Because it can be very much a nightmare to have everything distributed.
Oh yeah.
You want everything in one location for sure.
It's a lot.
Without a doubt, man. Without a doubt.
All right, guys. Well, we have wrapped up our final episode of March Marketing Madness. Thank you so much. So
offer.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, one thing. Okay, so on our website, and I put the template. Hold on. Okay, so on our website, I'm just gonna put it in the chat here. The offer is for templates, since we're going to be launching that. Any one of the templates that you sign up to, the pricing that we have that we're going to be going live with next week is $397 as a one-time upfront payment. And that takes care of everything that we have to do to get the site launched. And then it normally would be $79 a month. What we're going to do is take off $100 off of the one-time payment and take off $20 off of the monthly payment.
And so this is for our damage control subscribers.
Yes. So
awesome.
if you go to the link that I just
well, what we're gonna do is, if you're a subscriber to the show, we're gonna send you all this information later today or tomorrow when the email goes out. So Sean, get me all that information and we'll get it to them. And we'll get it to them. This way they have it in whatever code or however they have to access that deal for them.
And any past shows, guys, it's on our YouTube channel. You'll get an email today or tomorrow with all of our recordings as well, plus this recording and this entire week, all the content that's being pushed out as well. you've got to subscribe to get all of that. So
yes.
It's specifically for damage control. There's actually a drop down when you're signing up.
Gotta be
it
subscribed.
says, where did you hear about us? And it says damage control. Select damage control and you're good.
Awesome. I love that.
I want to end with this, as Melinda says, those of you that follow us and those of you that are watching on Facebook, we do this for free. We are pushing out content for agents. Please share DC. That's what we ask from you. Share. We saw an increase of 63 subscribers this week. So we thank you for following us, and we thank you for all of the content that was pushed out from the rock stars on the show. Bethany, Sean, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, guys.
No problem. It's been a pleasure.
Hope you had an amazing rest of your day. Happy weekend. Happy Friday. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.